Hello everyone. In this presentation, I will discuss the evidence-based practice known as word meaning and picture associations. The strategy reviewed in my presentation is geared to meet the needs of your students that are in grades 7 and 8. The content area focus of this presentation is Spanish. Word meaning and picture associations can be defined as words connect to meaning through experience and knowledge and contain varied expressions based on text. Some of the materials needed in order to execute this strategy includes, but are not limited to, Triumph board for graphic display touchscreen capabilities with audio, internet access to pull up electronic workbooks or websites such as storyboard.com to showcase learning scenarios, textbooks offered by the school in order to follow the curriculum, iPad as a form of assistive technology. A list of references can be seen on the last two slides of this presentation. Students learn an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 new words per year through reading and talking, as well as through explicit classroom instruction. Teaching reading and vocabulary development is an area where most students with language-based learning disabilities, 90%, have significant difficulties. It provides these students with multiple ways to learn and comprehend what is being taught. Students with disabilities have the opportunity to see and associate a picture with a word rather than just remembering the definition. Here is an example of what word meaning and picture association looks like. In this picture, you can see the word banana in English, the picture of a banana, and the word plátano, banana, in Spanish. Coupling images and printed words can be useful for developing the vocabulary skills of students with language-based learning disabilities who have difficulty remembering the definitions of new words. Word meaning and picture association is a good way to teach because students with disabilities would be able to recognize a picture and start to become familiar with the word meaning associated with it. Learning what words mean is not a simple task for all students. Children with specific language impairment, SLI, exhibit a slower rate of word learning and have less diverse, receptive, and expressive vocabularies than their peers with typical language development. As educators, be prepared to offer time and guidance to students with special needs by providing mini lessons on word identification, the meaning of the word, and associating pictures, drawings, and other graphics with the word. It is important and advantageous to implement explicit strategies in our classrooms that are evidence-based in order to teach vocabulary more effectively. I am going to demonstrate a lesson for you that incorporates the word meaning and picture association strategy using explicit instruction as an effective practice for vocabulary acquisition and can be adapted to any age group or content area. For this lesson, the target group is early adolescents, 7th and 8th grade, Spanish language learners. This lesson plan will also include the assistance of a special ed teacher in the classroom. Getting the student's attention is critical when teaching. The teacher achieves this by standing in the front of the classroom and greeting the students in Spanish by saying, "Bienvenido," which means welcome. Standing in front of the classroom is a nonverbal cue that the teacher is ready to start the class. Saying welcome is the auditory cue that the teacher is ready to start today's lesson. Once the teacher has the student's attention, the teacher will start by asking refresher questions regarding the prior day's lesson. The teacher could use the Triumph board to pull up vocabulary words, Google images of the words learned, and simply conduct an oral review. The teacher will tell the students what the learning objectives are for the day. The objectives will be projected on the board. By reading and hearing what is on the board, students will know what they'll be learning for the class period. The teacher should remind students that learning vocabulary is critical in becoming proficient in Spanish. The teacher will explain to the students what they need to do and model what needs to be done in the activity. For example, the teacher can hand out a worksheet with pictures and ask students to write down what they see in the picture in English. The worksheet can be projected on the Triumph board. The teacher will write down the English and Spanish words on the Triumph board for the class to see. The teacher would be guiding students while completing the worksheet. The teacher would be asking questions and correcting any responses that were wrong. The teacher will record the student responses on the Triumph board. If there is a student with special needs in the class, the special ed teacher can work one-on-one with the SWD that may need a little extra assistance by doing the same exercise. The teacher must allow the students to perform independent practices. Students will need to be able to demonstrate that they have met the learning objectives. This can be done by implementing a mini quiz where students can write a short response. The teacher can conduct an in-class oral review of the quiz. Students would be required to swap completed quizzes with their neighbor and the evaluation would commence. If the teacher hears an incorrect response, the teacher may opt to open the question up to all students, allowing another student to state the correct response. Once the student that had the incorrect response hears the correct response, the teacher can ask the same question over to the student with the incorrect response to allow them the opportunity to say the correct response. Once the correct response is received, it is recommended that the teacher appraises the student. The special ed teacher should also be assisting in the corrective feedback with the SWD. If the special ed teacher notices the SWD has made some errors, the special ed teacher should assist them in learning word relationships, expand on the meaning of words, and helping them use other resources like the Spanish-English dictionary or even assistive technology such as an iPad to conveniently look up the meaning of words that were incorrect. The teacher will review old and new materials verbally by asking questions and allowing students to raise their hand and answer. Students will be able to summarize what they've learned by reviewing their notes, assignments, and verbally responding to the teacher's questions or prompts. Once the students seem to grasp what they have learned, the teacher will verbally present what the next step is in the lesson. Then the teacher will provide homework that can be submitted through Google Forms or another electronic source. This will allow students to practice what they've learned in the class. The SWD will have accommodation homework tailored for their practice if need be.